Okay, good morning, Carrie. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Very good. It is very nice to meet you. I'm eager to learn a little bit more about your experience. The one thing that really struck me, of course, is your experience with permitting. So, why don't you go ahead and give me a brief overview of what you've been doing for work?
So currently, I'm, as I stated, in another venture with another company that isn't doing well, where I do some permitting. That company is based out of South Florida, so their permitting procedures are a little different than what I'm used to. Let's say with my experience with Davis Bros. With Davis Bros, I did mechanical permitting for 3 years with them for HVAC. So I submitted permits to pretty much all the cities in Volusia, and monitored them from submission to final inspection. Um, I filled out every city's application, whether it be online or um, handwritten. I'm a notary, so I can take care of that part of the process as well. Um, I know how to file for inspections, request notes if it fails for any reason, re-inspections, deal with the clients in regards to that.
All right, wonderful. Tell me a little bit about your computer skills.
So with Davis Bros, we used all Mac products, which was the
Okay.
first time that I was ever using a Mac computer. In turn, I loved it so much I purchased one personally.
Okay.
Um, and with regards to Windows, I mean, Windows I have used since I was probably, I don't know, 14, between school and all of my work experience. So I am proficient with Google Sheets. Excel's not my favorite program, but I do have experience with it. And same for pretty much any, Outlook or Gmail or Yahoo, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Um, I don't remember what my words per minute are these days, but my typing skills are pretty standard. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the fastest, but I definitely can take care of anything that needs to be taken care of in a timely manner when it comes to stuff like that. So,
Okay, great. And you were at Davis Bro, was that about 3 years you were there?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then before that, tell me a little bit about what you were doing.
So before that, I was a claims assistant for a heavy equipment um, appraisal company. So they did appraisals for heavy equipment insurance claims.
Hmm.
So I basically handled all of the incoming claims requests from multiple different insurance companies. The insurance companies would hire us to do the investigation for their claims, and do the appraisal for the equipment, whether that be 18 wheelers, their trailers. We did golf carts, we did forklifts, anything heavy equipment related. We could do appraisals for. When I left that company, I was the office manager at the time. So I dealt with pretty much everything from accounting, HR, all of the things, as well as the typical just like receptionist type stuff. Um, Built relationships with all of our vendors at the time, as well as all of their outside companies. We dealt with not just insurance companies, but we'd service the entire United States. So I had adjusters all over the United States and communicated with all of them. And we actually entered into Canada at one point, but not very much. So
Gotcha. You mentioned that you had some HR experience. Was that like full cycle hiring and onboarding and such?
yes. With Davis Bros, um, I did pretty much all of the training for any of the girls that were hired. Um, for a good 2 years solid with Davis Bros. With Global Heavy Equipment, our office was very small, so it was really just me and sometimes one other young lady. But with having subcontractors, I dealt with all of that paperwork and payroll and all that kind of stuff. Onboarding with Davis Bros, I assisted the HR manager with that because we had so many between installation guys and service technicians and then office staff. I helped her with the paperwork. I made sure they got all that paperwork done. I usually was the notary who signed. There was a couple forms that needed a notary, so I took care of making sure everything was, filled out properly, driver's license, socials, copies of all that. Everything was submitted. Same with the company I'm with now, conducting interviews, getting all their paperwork submitted and making sure everything's filled out properly, all that kind of stuff.
Great. And then you mentioned AP and AR. Or you mentioned, was it AP? Did I dream AR or was it AP and
No,
AR?
no, I mean, accounting and bookkeeping is something that I've touched on pretty much in any role that I've had in my entire working life. I typically try to be as useful to whatever company I'm with. So if we have someone out, I can always step in. If there's like an emergency, I can always fill someone's shoes.
Okay.
So for my recent, just to touch on my recent experience with Davis Bros, I was able to handle if our accounting, she was accounting and HR, was out, I was able to handle, all of the bank deposits. And in my position, I had to make sure that payments were received for our service techs as well as installations. Payments were received, things like that. I handled all of the supply ordering through multiple different vendors, made sure all those invoices were entered correctly, things like that. So in the company
Great.
I'm with now, we have a couple billing accounts. So I keep track of like, net 30 accounts, net 45, make sure invoicing is sent properly, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. I am going to pause this part of the interview, but don't go anywhere. I'll be right
Okay.
back.